With the constant improvement and advancements made in China, it is no surprise that the country has made yet another outstanding innovation. From humanoid robots operating with advanced AI technology to state-of-the-art automotive technologies, China has always been at the top of the global market in terms of technology. Now, it appears, the Chinese market has yet stunned the world with another major invention. What could this new invention be, and how is it related to the CEO of BOEING? Join us as we uncover China's C929 that has crushed a 12,000-kilometer flight test and left the Boeing CEO shut quiet. China's C929 and its progress. China has officially launched its newest commercial aircraft, the C929, with a groundbreaking 12,000 kilometers non-stop flight test that signals a bold leap forward in the country's aerospace ambitions. Designed by the Commercial Aircraft Corporation of China, the C929 is a wide-body, long-haul jet positioned to compete with the likes of the Boeing 787 and Airbus A350. China's homegrown wide-body jetline, C929, is set to meet the public at the ongoing Second China Air Transport Association Aviation Conference in Beijing, as the country keeps making strides in developing bigger commercial jets. The twin-aisle jumbo jet, which is in the development stage, represents the state-owned Commercial Aircraft Corporation of China's efforts to break into the long-haul international passenger jet market, after it put the narrow-body C919 and regional jet ARJ-21 into commercial operation. He Dongfeng, COMAC's board chairman, said at the opening ceremony of the conference on Friday that the C929 wide-body jets are in the phase of preliminary design and selecting suppliers. Although the C929 has not yet been commissioned to go into the market, it poses a threat to other aircraft carriers such as Boeing. According to data from the Civil Aviation Administration of China and individual airlines, China has several operators with Boeing-only fleets, which has long dominated the country's aviation industry until these latest arrivals. Here's where things start to get interesting. The C929 has reportedly successfully completed a 12,000-kilometer test flight, covering the distance equivalent to a route from Shanghai to New York without stopping, highlighting its long-haul capabilities. Built to seat between 280 and 440 passengers depending on configuration, the aircraft is engineered for global routes and efficient performance. It incorporates advanced materials such as carbon fiber composites and is equipped with a new generation of high-thrust engines. The aircraft has completed detailed structural prototyping and is currently undergoing extensive testing. Prototypes are under development, and domestic suppliers are reportedly due to start shipping some large components, including the first fuselage middle section, in 2027. COMAC had not previously announced any time frame for the C929's maiden flight, but they seem to also be targeting commercial service entry within the next decade, with ongoing flight certification and system integration work. Major Chinese airlines have already expressed interest in the aircraft, positioning it as a future flagship for international routes. COMAC is also making headway in securing supplies from mainstream Western firms. Earlier this week in Paris, it struck deals with French aerospace company Safran, a longtime partner, as well as with American firm Crane Aerospace and Electronics. The deals cover the supply of brake controls, ice detection systems, tire pressure indicators, and cabin door sensors for the C929. However, COMAC has yet to announce its engine choice for the C929, a key decision that is becoming increasingly urgent given the turbulent international geopolitical context and complex industrial supply chain issues. Regardless of the limitations or hurdles involved in this project, the successful long-range test flight of the C929 marks a turning point in the global aviation market. China is not only closing the technology gap, but also actively challenging the long-standing duopoly of Boeing and Airbus in the wide-body jet segment. China's development of its first wide-body passenger jet represents its ambition to compete globally. But lifting the C929 off the ground will require more than just advanced engineering. Supply chain resilience, talent development, and global trust will determine if the program can truly fly as it moves to rival the Airbus A350 and Boeing 787, both popular airline choices. History, however, has shown that wide-body developments are filled with challenges. Boeing delayed the launch of its 787 for 3 years after outsourcing missteps, while an Airbus struggling with A350 supply chain bottlenecks has limited its production to 6 per month. Farther back, the Ilyushin Il-96, designed in the Soviet Union, faltered soon after the Union's collapse as the technical components became obsolete. These cases highlight the need for robust supplier coordination and modern technology, and serve as lessons for COMAC to balance localization and global integration. China hopes to avoid these pitfalls through aggressive localization. China's C929 is more than just an aircraft, it's a statement. With its impressive range, modern design, and strategic significance, the jet symbolizes China's growing confidence and capability in high-end manufacturing and global transportation infrastructure. The future of long-haul commercial aviation may soon include a third major player. China's C929 program reveals a delicate balancing act. On one hand, state planners are pursuing technological self-reliance to reduce exposure to geopolitical pressures. On the other, global aviation norms and market access still require partnerships with certified Western suppliers. To compete globally, COMAC must achieve not just flight, but trust. This requires world-class certification, globally recognized components, and an after-sales ecosystem on a par with Airbus and Boeing. The C929 program is more than a new jet. It is a test of whether China can ascend the industrial value chain while navigating the friction between national ambition and global interdependence. Success would position China as a new aerospace heavyweight. Failure could delay its rise by a decade. To lift off, COMAC must scale up supplier certification, invest in retaining engineering talent, and walk the fine line between autonomy and integration with strategic care. Stay tuned as we dive deeper into another aircraft development by China, the C919. China's COMAC C919 takes over the Western market. China's state-owned aircraft maker had just announced the Western engine it had chosen for its new aircraft. In January 2010, American cyber researchers started to see the preparatory activity of a Chinese hacking group focusing on an American turbine company that made a part needed for jet engines. For years afterwards, a division of China's intelligence apparatus could be seen trying to steal engine design information from Western companies. By 2017 and 2018, the U.S. government had opened indictments, with convictions to follow, against figures in the U.S. and China trying to steal Western aerospace information. The subterfuge, now largely forgotten by the public, is an essential chapter in the origin story of the C919, which was developed to compete with two of the world's most widely used passenger aircraft, the Boeing 737 and the Airbus A320neo. It was also the foundation of establishing the Commercial Aircraft Corporation of China as a serious player in the global commercial aviation market. The C919 is now in regular production, and it's taking its first steps in aiding China's systematic efforts to both develop its aerospace industry and to produce a viable passenger aircraft. Regardless of this initiative, years after concerns were raised over Chinese intellectual property theft, few of the affected parties are keen to talk openly about the alleged cyber espionage. But that's just the beginning of this clash between the Chinese and Western markets. Repeated attempts to contact COMAC by this masthead were unsuccessful, and Western aerospace parts makers have been quiet too. Not even CrowdStrike, the U.S. company that wrote the pivotal 2019 report spelling out China's cyber activities around Western aviation, was willing to discuss it. But that's not to say the Western aerospace industry is unaware or unconcerned about China's industrial espionage. China's habit of acquiring foreign technology, absorbing it, and then re-innovating it for export has been seen with smartphones, wind turbines, electric vehicles, solar panels, and high-speed trains. So it's not a complete surprise that the C919 narrow-body jet looks like the peers it seeks to compete with. The C-19 is designed to carry from about 158 to 192 passengers, close to the same capacity as Western planes, such as the Boeing 737 MAX 8 and the Airbus A320neo. The Boeing and Airbus planes have a range of more than 6,300 kilometers, while it's estimated that the C919 has a range of about 5,500 kilometers. Aerodynamic Advisory Managing Director Richard Abulafia testified to the U.S.-China Economic and Security Review Commission in February that the fact the C919 looks like an A320 is all the reason Western manufacturers need to maintain a cautious stance regarding technology transfer. Meanwhile, Western companies have not turned their back on the Chinese market. COMAC's C919 programs have forged ahead with the help of international companies and global supply chains. The C919 has been designed in Shanghai with its fuselage, wings, flags, and ailerons made in China. Much of the complexity of a jet is in the innumerable onboard systems. Estimates vary on how much of the plane is actually China-made, with figures suggesting up to 60% of the plane's components come from Western aerospace companies such as Collins Aerospace, GE Aerospace, and Honeywell. The C919 flying today still doesn't use China-made engines, not yet anyway. It uses the CFML EAP-1C, an engine co-produced by GE Aerospace and France-based Safran. The Center for Strategic and International Studies senior advisor Scott Kennedy told this masthead that regardless of Chinese intentions, the C919 is still entirely dependent on Western technology providers. Any supposed efforts to outright steal technology have not succeeded, and none of the tech transfer arrangements has led to the emergence of a competitive domestic alternative. Due to this, foreign aerospace firms have been extremely smart about protecting their technological advantages, and integrating technologies is even more of a challenge that COMAC is still leagues behind compared with their American and European counterparts. The pace of production of the C919 has been slower than anticipated. COMAC planned its first flight for 2014, but the plane was repeatedly delayed, and the first flight was not until 2017, while its first commercial flight took place in 2023. Shanghai-based China Eastern Airline now operates 10 C919s on routes between Shanghai and Beijing and Shanghai and Hong Kong. The C919 is also operated by Air China and China Southern Airlines, domestic carriers the Chinese Communist Party government can direct to purchase the plane. There are reportedly 1,000 orders for the C919, but so far, COMAC has only produced 10 in 2024 and a number in the teens this year. However, with the C919 being a prize project of Beijing during the US-China wars, it didn't really help the market or its prospects. According to the New York Times, at the end of May, the U.S. Commerce Department even suspended some licenses, allowing U.S. companies to sell products and technology to COMAC for use in its C919 aircraft. But China's rapid industrialization has brought with it the practice of piracy and technology extortion that challenges the legal framework and capacity of Western courts. China is big enough to essentially make its own rules around industry practices, or at least to try to, which in turn challenges the basis of patents in the West and the system of innovation that it supports. For example, China's strategy has been to require Western companies to set up co-production facilities within China, where technical knowledge can either be shared or acquired legally or illegally. Regardless of China's strategy to acquire these Western materials, the C919 operates with Western equipment, and it will continue to do so as long as it keeps business going well. Keep watching, because this next part will keep you glued to your screens. Latest advancements in China's aerospace industry. A startup company in southwestern China has revealed its latest innovations in rocket technology, highlighting how the country's cutting-edge aerospace capabilities are expanding into the civilian sector. Lingkong Tianxing Technology unveiled its self-developed reusable liquid rocket with an animated video simulation posted to its official website on Tuesday. The clip showcased advanced flight control technologies, including mid-air flips and in-flight reignition. The clip shows the vertical takeoff and vertical landing rocket igniting and ascending to an altitude of nearly 2 kilometers, where control surfaces on both sides of the nose shift angles, transitioning the rocket from vertical ascent to an upward slanting trajectory in a ballet-like motion. After around 30 seconds, the engine shuts down upon reaching peak altitude, and the rocket executes its first flip. The rocket then begins to descend nose first, slowing down at a high angle of attack, a term referring to the angle between the rocket's longitudinal axis, or nose direction, and its direction of motion through the air. A high angle helps to generate aerodynamic drag for slowing down. About 10 seconds later, the engine reignites as the wings adjust their angles, enabling the rocket to perform a second flip and return to a nose-up position. It then descends steadily under engine control, landing vertically in a double-layered elastic net on the ground, but it doesn't end there. The rocket uses liquid fuel propulsion and features variable thrust, according to the company based in Chengdu, Sichuan province. Also, unlike traditional hard landings, a soft landing minimized structural damage, paving the way for reusability, the company said. They also pointed out that an actual trial is expected to launch soon. The experiment will lay the technical groundwork for future suborbital tourism and reusable transport platforms. Alongside the clip, the company posted an image of a rocket launched from a desert and streaking across the Milky Way alongside meteors. It appeared to tease something unprecedented that the company planned to do: create a meteor shower in the desert. SpaceX's Falcon 9 launches have seen the rocket's exhaust plume leave jellyfish-like trails in the sky, shared by many social media users in the United States as a visual spectacle. Generating artificial meteor showers within the atmosphere with a rocket is expected to offer an even more striking show. While natural meteor showers are unpredictable and often hard to observe, this kind of rocket meteor shower offered both controllability and spectacle, blending aerospace technology with artistic romance, the company said. Reports suggest that Lingkong Tianxing aims to develop cost-effective next-generation supersonic passenger aircraft to revolutionize global air transport, potentially halving international flight times. Last December, the company test-fired its Jindao 400 engine, which operated for 45 seconds at speeds of between Mach 3.3 and 4.1 at altitudes of 14 kilometers to 23 kilometers. In January this year, the team unveiled an uncrewed supersonic aircraft prototype named Quantianhou, or Soaring Stone Monkey. The prototype, which is 7 meters long and weighs about 1.5 tons, is equipped with 2 engines and reached Mach 4 at 20 kilometers in test flight, twice the speed of the retired Concorde. According to the company roadmap, the Quantianhou is expected to complete its maiden flight in 2026, followed by its supersonic passenger plane Dasheng in 2030. The company also stated that China currently leads the world in hypersonic technology. Hypersonics serves as a foundational technology for both aerospace re-entry and high-speed transport, representing a critical intersection between aeronautics and astronautics. It also holds immense commercial value across scientific research and diverse civilian applications. Beyond passenger jets, the company appears to also be exploring other commercial applications, but that's far from all. China Aerospace Science and Industry Corporation, CASIC, which stands as the startup company's inspiration, appears to be the backbone of the national science and technology industry. It stands as a large, state-owned high-tech enterprise under direct administration of the central government. It has grown out of the 5th Academy of the Ministry of Defense in 1956 and gone through a long history with different names of the Ministry of the 7th Machinery Industry, the Ministry of Aerospace Industry, the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Industry, China Aerospace Corporation, China Aerospace Machinery, and Electronics Corporation, and the present one. CASIC owns 7 academies, 2 scientific research and development bases, 6 public-listed companies, and over 620 other companies and institutes scattered nationwide. CASIC is the biggest missile weapons system developing and manufacturing industry. It possesses a complete system for developing, researching, and manufacturing air defense missile system, cruising missile system, solid propellant rocket, space technological products, and other technologies. Its products cover various fields of land, sea, air, and electromagnetism. It has successively provided dozens of advanced missile equipment for the nation. It also has made outstanding contributions to manned spaceflight, lunar exploration, and other key national projects. The China Aerospace Science and Industry Corp., one of the country's major space contractors, recently announced that it plans to build a massive remote sensing satellite network by 2030. The network, which has yet to be named, will be tasked with public services like emergency response and rescue and disaster prevention and relief, and will also be used to carry out real-time, high-resolution observation of designated areas and specific targets in accordance with users' requirements. The purpose of this network, according to CASIC Space Engineering Development, the subsidiary of the corporation in Beijing in charge of the project, is to provide ease for the average Chinese. Upon completion, the system will comprise 300 remote sensing satellites operating in extra-low orbits at altitudes of less than 300 kilometers, and will be capable of taking optical photos, radar data, and hyperspectral and infrared images. By 2030, the network will be able to map and survey any given place on the globe within 15 minutes of receiving a request, the company said in a notice released on the sidelines of the 9th China International Commercial Aerospace Forum, which opened on Wednesday in Wuhan, capital of Hubei province. As China continues to expand its technology with different approaches in regards to aircrafts and even satellites, will the country be able to achieve their goal of becoming number 1, or will things eventually go south? Let us know what you think in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click on the next video on your screen. You will love it.